Is your child struggling with reading, or are you trying to expand their vocabulary without doing a bunch of flashcards? Well, today we're going to talk about word families for early and advanced readers. So you want to stick around, like and subscribe. You don't want to miss this episode. Hi, thank you so much for joining the Falling for Learning podcast. I am TD Blennaw. We have this podcast to help parents and caregivers with having the resources, strategies, and tools needed to make sure that their children are on track for learning and to stay on track for success. Welcome. Okay, so today let's talk about word families. Now, before we get into that, we're going to be talking about recognizing patterns. So, of course, this is April. We have Poetry Month, and I almost forgot about this. But I recently went to a professional development with my composing and computing collaborative, right? Shout out to the California Writing Project. And so I'm going to read The Housewife's Lament because obviously there's some rhyming there and recognizing patterns really important. I have not been a housewife before, but I just thought this was a poem that I could read. One day I was walking. This is by Eliza Sproat Turner. Okay. Um, One day I was walking, I heard a complaining and saw an old woman, the picture of gloom. She looked at the mud on her doorstep. 'Twas raining, and this was her song as she wielded her broom. Okay. There's too many hours we spend getting ready, days of our lives spent ironing a shirt. There's nothing that pays back time wasted already, nothing that lasts but trouble and dirt. And March is so muddy and slush in December. The midsummer breezes are loaded with dust. In fall, the leaves litter and clutter September. The wallpaper rots and the faucets all rust. There's worms on the cherries and slugs on the roses, ants in the sugar and mice in the pies. The spiders wreak havoc right under our noses. The roaches disgust me, and those flies. It's sweeping at 6 and it's dusting at 7, breakfast at 8 and dishes at 9. It's potting and panning from 10 to 11. We scarce break our fast till we plan how to dine. And the last part, last night in my dreams, I was stranded forever on a rock in the midst of the sea. My one chance of life was a ceaseless endeavor to sweep off the waves as they swept over me. But I wasn't dreaming, just rudely awakened. I see that it's helpless, my fate to avert. She laid down her broom, she folded her apron, she lay down and died and was buried in dirt. I don't know. It's pretty dark. But anyway, recognizing patterns. Okay. So we're going to get into it. I do have a little thing behind me because of course I'm going to take it to the board. My like little cheap, you know, a post-it poster. So we're gonna be talking about word families. Now, yes, it is a little slanted, but I'm not about perfection anymore. I'm recovering. I'm gonna move on. Okay. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so we're gonna start with very simple, right? Always go from simple. I'm gonna put this here, the word in. So as we are having our young readers build words in, right? And then we give them these little post-its. You could also do this with magnetic or whatever, but this is like the poor person's way to do this. And shout out to one of the teachers that I work with. She gave us this little hack, and I love it. So here we go. So we could have them build families with this. Of course, you want to do it a little bit closer or whatever, right? So it would be b in bin, right? Then you can do s in sin, right? D, D, N. And a lot of kids don't know what that means. It's just like sounds, like, there's a din, a slight din of diners inside of the restaurant, right? Din, a sound. Okay, and then there is fin. And again, that's one of the tricks. You got to make sure you position it right on here. Fin, in, fin, helping the kids to blend it, recognizing this pattern. They can make lots of words with this. Now I'm going to start in expanding. So there is hen. And then, of course, you want to put at the end of it another sound. So we go from a 3-letter word to a 4-letter word. In this case, I want to do hint. So I'm going to, and you could ask learners, what would I add to make this word? It's in, hen. How do you make it hint? Right? And you could ask them and they may tell you. If they're ready, they would tell you the T or the T sound, right? So they have the word hint. Okay. Let's take some of this down again. Of course, you could have the word tin, right? Just moving around those, just changing it one letter at a time. Then we have win. Now, sometimes when we have words like this, kids will bring up words that actually aren't part of the word family, like the word went. And in that case, I'll write went for them and say, oh, it sounds like it, but it actually is not. It doesn't follow the rules. I mean, it follows a different set of rules. The word is win. So it doesn't follow it. When, it doesn't go. I got confused. Went. Went, right? Yeah, so they expand their knowledge. So don't, acknowledge what they're saying. Like, oh, that's one of those other words, and it's not, and it's fine. You explain it to them. So here we go. And now I have 10. Oop, I'm gonna put T at the end again. Int, and I'm gonna add FL, Flint. Shout out to my dad. That's one of his nicknames, Flint. Uh, and even if you want to even expand it further, I'm going to do 3 letters in the front. Sprint, right? So they have a 6-letter word, and kids are feeling more confident because they know this int and they're able just to add other things to it. I'm going to take it off and then go back and just add 2 letters in the front of in, and we have spin, sp, in. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and again add an H in front. So we have hen, hint. My little letters are coming apart, but it's fine. It's fine. Hint. Okay. Then there is the GL. Oh, well, let me do it at the L. We have a lint. And some kids may say tint. So tint also works. But they may be thinking about tint like when you go camping. And again, you write it for them. This is tint, T-E-N-T for camping. This tint is like hair tint, like I tinted my hair. And then there is also glint. Okay. So these are all different ways that you can build these words, right? Showing them how to build it. Again, you could do it with magnetic letters. This is just a way to do this quickly and easily to show you. And after the break, we're going to show you a way to expand it with older readers. All right. Stay tuned for our sponsor. The Rewrite Method and the Rewrite Method Workbook are your go-to resource for helping kids to learn to fall in love with writing. It has the tips, tools, resources, strategies, and skill building activities to help kids fall out of writing hate and into loving to write. Get your book set today Okay, we're back. So we have some of those words written down that we had earlier. Good. So we're now going to talk about how we could do this with more advanced words. So I'm going to go to the word form. So we're going to make a little space here. The word form. So this is a more advanced word. Knowing that the OR makes the OR sound is, a little bit more advanced. And then making multisyllabic words, words that have multiple syllables to help them. So, of course, we have the word in. So we could go ahead and take that right away and we could have in form, right? And explaining to them what these different word parts mean, right? We could also have reform, perform, perform. So now we have a three-syllable word. Okay, so multiple ways to make, long words. So again, I'm going to go back to inform, and then I'm going to add information, right? So we could get students to information, a four-syllable word, helping them to understand. Recognizing these patterns throughout is very key in helping them to sound out words, letting them know what the base of this word means, and the suffixes will go at the end of the words, and the prefixes, helping them to understand, how to recognize those patterns and sound out the words. You can even make some some nonsense words with the kids. Um, as long as you're teaching them the meaning of the prefix and the suffixes and the base word, is very easy to help them to transfer their information to many, many, many different multisyllabic words. So words with multiple syllables, how to recognize them and read them. And then they can start using it in a sentence, then challenging them to write with it. So it gives them so many limitless opportunities for them to build on one thing that they know and to exponentially increase their vocabulary, their reading vocabulary, their speaking vocabulary, and even how they're able to spell words or write them correctly. So there's multiple things that you could do when you're thinking about word families, helping students to recognize these patterns and transfer them to the text that they're reading. Again, testing season will be coming up very soon for certain children, and we know we are not able to help, teachers are not able to help. Testing is on them. It's them really soaring or finding that they have a challenge in a certain area with words that they already know and with the knowledge that they already know and able to apply it to new text, new challenges that they haven't seen before. So I appreciate you for joining us today. Hopefully, you're doing something today that is giving your child the competitive advantage.